The video for June the 12th, 2017 is entitled Off the Cuff and Unplanned. Sundays have often been the busiest day of my week. When I got home from the meeting that I was at for about 1.5 hours, I decided to do my laundry. Well, here it is, nearly 3 p.m., and I haven't even thought of a topic. Therefore, I'm just going to talk from my heart and see what comes out without planning a topic. That will be a first for me, I think, at least the first in a very long time. Indeed, I mean, I'm serious. I do not have a topic in mind. I had a very interesting night. I went to bed fairly early, by 8 o'clock, and then I woke up at 11:11. Wouldn't you know it? I mean, strange. I mean, and I stayed in bed, and I went back to bed at 1:11. That's when I got back to my room, and I thought, wow. And I didn't plan it that way. This is the synchronicity of how things sometimes work in my life. Sometimes, and I underline the sometimes. But I couldn't get to sleep. About 3:15, I was back up and at the computer till after 5. And then I went back and I laid down again, and I think I got an hour, maybe 2 of sleep. And then I realized I have to get ready because the service that I was going to today starts early. I mean, it's 9 o'clock, and it takes a good 20 minutes at least to get there. So, and I like to get there ahead of time. So I was actually there a little after 8:30. And the talk was very interesting. A lady who comes from Lebanon shared her story. And I wish I could remember the name of the book that she wrote. But I mean, I heard afterwards, I wasn't the only one that was wiping tears from my eyes. Because what she went through, so many of the things, the issues that came up for her, have come up for me during my life. Not exactly the same, but so many similarities. And when I mentioned that I was wiping tears from my eyes, I learned that I wasn't the only one in the group that was disguising the fact that I was, we're using our fingers to wipe the moisture, because we've all been through a lot of stuff. We've all been to hell and back in life. And one of the ladies there said that from her point of view, we have to have a life that's so rough and filled with challenges, or we wouldn't appreciate it. And I have thought, not since I came home, but in the past, I have thought about that a lot. Because truthfully, I believe that a whole lot more could be accomplished if we grew up in an environment where we were loved and appreciated, and there was no doubt. We wouldn't have to have all of the negative programming that we've had to go through for millennia as a human family, as a human culture. And I've looked at things. Somebody sent something, was it today or was it yesterday, recently, that it was extraterrestrials that created human life, not God. And it's not a single being, it's beings from the Pleiades or some other galaxies. And that's what humans are. We are a creation, an amalgamation of various extraterrestrial civilizations that has been blended together. I still have problems with why demonic elements or malevolent beings would be put in charge of a planet. That it just, I'm sorry, folks, but it doesn't register for me. Maybe there's a higher purpose, and somebody said in a recent comment, you have no idea where God is coming from because you're not God. And that's true. I can't see the bigger picture. I can't comprehend a reason or logical explanation. I can't provide a logical explanation for what's happened on this planet and looking back at the history. And I don't know. Geologically, I know the history has been a very, very long time. How long man has been on this planet, I don't know. How have we been lied to? I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. And so I'm living in a conundrum of sorts because of the fact that I can't figure things out. And obviously, at age 70, things are not what I thought they were. Now, I belong to a circle of friends, the Bruno Groening Circle of Friends, and the lady that runs that group is either 87 or 88 years old. And she's an amazing human being from Turkey. I've mentioned that in previous videos, but she was at the meeting today, and so were some other friends that I haven't seen. There was only one person there that I had never met before. So I thought that was quite interesting. And some of these people I haven't seen in, many years, actually, 4 or 5 years at least. It's been since I've connected with some of these people, maybe even longer. But the discussion, as I said, brought tears to my eyes when I saw that what this lady had experienced on her journey. And we stayed much later than normal. I mean, normally the meeting lasts an hour. We didn't do the closing till 10:15, and it's supposed to be 1 hour from 9 till 10. We didn't do the closing till about 15:15. And then, another hour and 15 minutes after that, I finally left, and there were still a few people there talking even after I left. So there were, 3 or 4 cars left in the driveway after I pulled out. So it was obviously a meeting that touched a lot of people's hearts. And it certainly touched mine. And one of the things that she mentioned was the Ho'oponopono. And she was challenged to do Ho'oponopono for 2 weeks. And she had an issue with her mom. Her mom and her did not get along for most of her life. The preferential one was her sister. Her sister was, quote, prettier than she was, and she was the family favorite. In any case, she was challenged, as one of her spiritual practices, to do Ho'oponopono. I forgive you, I love you, I don't know, there's four steps, and I didn't write them down. Again, this is unplanned. But she started doing Ho'oponopono for 2 weeks. At the end of the 2 weeks, she ended up in a conversation with her mother, and her mother was like totally different toward her. I mean, it was a night and day. Her mother was all of a sudden loving, and right up until the time her mother passed, she was very, very loving. And this really, even as I'm sitting here thinking about it now, it really, I've got to think about it more, and I've got to start practicing Ho'oponopono. So anyway, this is, as I said, off the cuff and unplanned, and it impacted me, that meeting this morning. And I'm hoping that something turns around. I just want to, in closing, just add, the fear that I have is that I will have lived my life without seeing the kingdom of heaven manifest on earth. And that, to me, would mean that I've lived in vain. Although I've had people tell me, no, you've made an impact on a lot of people, Ron, you just don't know. In any case, no, I just don't know. And yes, I'm going to continue as best I can, day after day, until whatever happens is happens, whether I die or whether there's actual change. There's all sorts of promises that come and go, but most of them remain unfulfilled. Anyway, thank you, folks, for listening, and pray for one another, and pray for me too. Thank you. Namaste.